Hello everyone and welcome back to Beyond the Veil background information. Today we're doing a creature profile and we're still in the sea creatures realm, and unlike last time it's definitely a sea creature this time. We're going to talk about Selkies. So I'll do a brief quote from a story a Selkies mentioned as like the opening bit, then I'll give you the background information I have for Selkies, and then I'll give you the creature profile. So let's get into it. Selkies, I thought that was a European thing. Wait, I'm being rude to you, aren't I? You're here to help us, I should be nicer. Quote from Reciprocity. Growing up and being interested in mythological creatures, I often was not that interested in ones that turned into humans or had some human aspects, like my aspects. But my older sister was. The Selkie was her favourite things, and the Selkie was her favourite thing, and so pretty young I was told the Celtic story of a beautiful woman that wore a sealskin and lived as a seal most of the time. But when she fell in love with a man, she chose to hide her sealskin in a box so she could be with him. She married him and had children with him, and was very happy until the day he found the box and found the sealskin hidden within. As soon as she, as soon as she was found out, she had to turn back into a seal and leave her children behind. But when her children were old enough, she gifted them with the sealskins too, so they could join her in the sea and leave their father behind. There are variants, of course, lots of variants. That was the more child friendly version my oldest sister used to tell me, and most of the stories tend to speak of how a man finds a beautiful woman and tricks her into marrying him by hiding her sealskin until the day she finds it and runs away back to the sea to be free. The same sort of story exists in Slavic mythology regarding the swan maidens that lay their wing feathers, their wing, their wings feathered cloaks down to bathe, and these were stolen by men that forced them to marry. But once they got them back, they fled. It's typical of the mermaid story, and you can also say it's typical of the enchanted woman that holds secret powers. You'll notice similarities in mermaid tales, and well, the Selkie and the mermaid are similar in that fashion, only that the Selkie has a shape-shifting ability triggered by their cloak. Now, the word Selkie is an old Scottish one for seal, and often is assumed to be created from the words sea and folk being wedged together. Once again, similarities to the mermaid, but it's seen around the Northern Isles, and is known even in Iceland. Some say it's a story relating to how amenable seals can be around humans at times, or even how similar they can appear when swimming. In fact, in some of the Norse ideas, these types of beings are specifically related to the Finn folk. That's right, the Finns. And there is an idea that all seals, particularly the grey or harbour seals, are Selkies. So that's right, if you're from Finland, you might be a Selkie. Now, what defines a Selkie story is two things: the use of a skin to change shape and the longing to return to the sea, even if it means abandoning her family. As said before, a common trope in mermaid stories about them living on the land. As said before, a common trope in that mermaid stories are about them living on land, but with Selkies there is often, like with the Swan Maidens, a rather more coercive manner to the stories. In many stories, her suitor actively finds and hides her sealskin, so she cannot rejoin her sisters in the water, and so the moment she regains what is hers, she has freedom again. There are concepts some might think to use to represent the idea of them being women that don't conform to marriage and the female role of society, and thus are forced to perform their duty only to take the first chance and escape. Overall, though, they're one of those falling for magic women types where they can never truly be taken out of the magical world, and just like that whole be slightly cautious of foreign women thing that you do see quite a lot in mythology. Selkies, like mermaids, can be deemed benevolent and helpful, and some can be active tricksters, almost acting like sirens to lure men into the water. Superstition with this meant that when times were hard, and that superstition with this meant that when times were hard, it was the only time seals were hunted for fear they might kill a selkie, and it is for whomever kills the seal was visited with bad luck. Some stories that they some stories say that they must return to land once every 7 years for one day, which is often when they are first caught, because they are under a curse. For instance, the idea they are cursed souls inhabiting animal bodies. It tends to, some people have linked it to like fallen angels, whereas others link it to some of the other Northern Isle spirits, like people that died at sea and were not baptized, etc. The children of Selkie, though, are thought to have abnormal attributes that either make them more beautiful or stand out. Some claiming they cannot speak in anything but seal barks. Others that they have webbed feet. Specifically, it seems if their father was a Selkie, they have webbed feet, have seal faces, might even have green skin or smell fishy. And some stories state that after birthing the child, the woman may have a dream of where to find silver or treasure that will keep her and the child set for life. Of course, that's if the father was the Selkie. Of course, a lot of these ideas come from fiction and oral tradition, so there are a great deal of variants and some ideas that are strictly just from that one story you hear it from. Although you do know that amongst Selkies, male Selkies do exist, whereas with mermaids we tend to very much separate off the merman as like a triton. In Selkies, you can have male Selkies. But yeah, the movie The Song of the Sea, I find is an excellent story about Selkies. And of course, if you have time, check out the variety of literature out there about Selkies. But also a brief note, if you ever hear Roan Inish regarding Selkies, that's come from an island that translates to Seal Island off Donegal and is said to be the home to Selkies. You may also hear of families descended from Selkies that have superstitions about any of them daring to kill a seal. The superstition of bad luck given to the one that kills a Selkie is still rather prevalent in some family mythologies. But yes, I've only touched on them and done basics, but here's their species profile. Literally, Selkies are fascinating, and like if you really like the mermaids and that kind of thing, have a look at the Selkies because they are much more well, they're very much linked to mixing of Nordic ideas with Celtic ideas and stuff. And it's just seals, basically. It's interesting. So have a look into it. Side neutral, created by demons mixing with shapeshifters, created for, not applicable. Created when before the veil, physical description, appear as beautiful humans once every few years when they come on land and remove their sealskin. But most of the time they are wearing their magical sealskin, which turns them into a seal and they live out amongst the wild animals. Abilities. Turned into seals and communicating with nature. Most known for being married to humans that have stolen their sealskins. Weaknesses. If their sealskin is taken, they must live on land and age like a normal human. However, their sealskin makes them immortal amongst the wilds, although not invulnerable. An orca can still eat eat them, not to mention seal hunters. Number, sadly, due to various damages to the natural environment, particularly to the northern coastal waters where they come from, the number has diminished, and as there are only a few that spend time regularly between land and sea, a more modern thing in the Vale, it is thought their number is less than 5,000. Well-known beings, none particularly named, but the stories are rather prevalent. Characters in stories, Roan in reciprocity. Final comments, I like Selkies. There's something very much linked to my older sister, and so they have a special place in my heart. And yeah, they are fascinating things, so thank you for listening.